airline, of course, has to decide for a market when you can prove there is a market. That's market is the prime reason for an airline to decide for a route. Secondly, it's how's the market constructed? What's the share of business travel, leisure traffic, O&D, transfer? And third, of course, then the airline starts talking about incentives and aeronautical charges. And that's also a new way of working. Every airline wants to have insight into incentives or wants to have the special treatment that a new route desires.
One of the key points is, of course, selling them an opportunity, a true opportunity. But at the end of the day, the negotiation about costs for them, it's a key point too. It's maybe the most critical one.
I think in the airline world, it's seeing still some extraordinary level of growth, which has been going on since really 2012, after the global financial crisis really finished in a way, and a resumption in growth, which has been quite strong for the last sort of 5 to 6 years. So airlines are absolutely grappling with growth, and with that, aircraft availability, slot availability, capacity. Costs continue to be an issue for airlines, particularly fuel costs and operating costs, which we're very, very cognizant of.
I think most airlines would always ask any airport is for the most competitive cost base they can possibly get, which the airports have obviously got to balance against running their own businesses in a commercial way. So cost base is obviously really, really important, and obviously the pressure from airlines on airports to maintain or create the lowest possible cost base is something that's a permanent feature.
I think it's always down to marketing incentive, marketing support. What they want is a low-cost base and a controlled cost base. So it's always down to marketing support incentives, mainly.
I think the most important thing, airlines spend a lot of money on their assets. They want to make the best return they can. So they want an opportunity to have profitable traffic and an opportunity to keep growing. And if we can help them lower their total cost of operations by providing a good market, a good number of passengers and an efficient operation, that's the main thing.
I often say aircraft are like pieces on a chessboard. They can be moved around, and they have been the prime example of moving aircraft all over the whole European chessboard, depending on where they see the best market opportunity.
There's always a risk factor included, but of course we specifically will focus, or an airport will specifically focus on those airlines that are a more reliable business than airlines that are on the verge of bankruptcy. On the other hand, it's also sometimes about taking the risk. Airlines really value the fact that airports take over part of the risk of establishing a new route. On the other hand, the airline could go bankrupt, but the airline could also decide to suspend the route after you have invested in this route for 2 years.
We as airports, and certainly at London City, and we know other airports are doing this as well, are looking to encourage and incentivize services. So particularly for startup services at airports, we absolutely recognize that for airlines, they are taking a bit of a risk. And we're very happy to actually share that risk for a period of time until a service becomes established. So certainly we look to do all sorts of different and more innovative ways to encourage the startup of a new service and actually make sure that that service is sustainable and profitable over the long term. We don't want services to start and then to fail or to finish after a short period of time. With this growth and the growth in capacity, there is the issue of airline yields. And for some airlines, some of the weaker airlines, we've seen those fail during the course of the last 12 months or so, airlines such as Air Berlin and Monarch and so forth. And with that, we're also seeing some degree of consolidation.
It's getting a little bit less players in the market for sure, and that puts lots of pressure on the airports.
Because of a change in the structure of the airline industry, with its consolidation, we see in Europe that is happening, but it's not happening as much yet as we've seen in the USA. But it's moving along. We are seeing what is happening right now with Alitalia. We've seen the out-and-out failure of Air Berlin and Monarch. That means that those airlines not only disappear, but their capacity goes into the hands primarily of other airlines in a greater concentration. So that's one factor that airports need to consider. We see airlines being part of a group. We have the Lufthansa group, we have IAG, we have the big American carriers who have multiple airlines within their portfolio. Of course, we have alliances too, so airports need to reflect on what all this means when they're making decisions and when they're negotiating. Some airlines will negotiate as a group, for example.